So it's 8 o'clock and we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Everybody have a chance to read their minutes?
Yes,
Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll motion to approve.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Alright, so the minutes are approved. All right, we got a lot of visitors. So Renee, we want to tell us who all the visitors are? so that we know?
Absolutely. Yes. So good morning, everyone. Today we have, first of all, I want to welcome my boss, our city manager, Dr. Peoples. Then we have our two representatives from the county.
Ryan Rothropping, project manager on the Big Bend from Fort Elm.
Ray Golick, South Area Engineer.
Brian, could you spell your last name for me?
It's ROTH hyphen ROFF as in Frank Y.
Thank you.
Okay, so introduction of our new commission member, this is Amanda from Block.
Perfect timing.
So welcome, Amanda, thank you very much for being on the commission. Also, some news is Julia from Descendant, she needed to resign the commission because she is becoming extremely busy with different projects she has going on in Chesterfield, but she will still be in the BDC. So we'll still get to see her from time to time, and she is still going to remain active in the business district. So that's all good news.
Good.
Yeah. All right. So we'll move on to old business in our streetscape project.
All right, so I'd like to invite Brian to please give us an update.
Sit, stand, what do you guys prefer?
Whatever you're.
Whatever you
Whatever you're
Yeah,
doing.
I'll probably just sit up there, so
Yeah, that's
that's
great.
okay. So I really open to any questions. I'll give you kind of a real quick update of where the project stands as far as the road goes. I did bring a few things today, just for potential benefit, if you guys haven't seen these in a while. So first, I'll just kind of spread it on the table if you guys don't mind. This is, so a little more backstory, but obviously you guys are well aware. Right here, this is the kind of concept that Cochrane did. This was done by Webster Groves. This was, in my opinion, or my understanding, your guys' first view of what the streetscape should look like.
Right.
For the roadway. So back in 2020, 2021, this was submitted to St. Louis County as a permit job. There are quite a few questions. And then, so one of the issues, not issues, but that's basically having parking on both sides of the street, permanent, having the bulb outs. A couple of things that the school district actually came to us. They had issues with the Elm intersection. They wanted better pedestrian crossings, as well as the section from the railroad tracks to 44. So in this configuration, on the west side of 44 is 2 lanes. Then it goes to 4 lanes between there and the tracks, and then it drops back down to 2 lanes.
Right.
So having that real wide 4 section doesn't really provide any benefit to anyone. It's more of a speeding issue. So the intent was, hey, we'll merge this project. St. Louis County will continue the project west to 44. And we're also going to add the improvements to the Elm intersection, new signals, improvements, better curb ramps and whatnot for all the kids trying to get to Hickson. So this is kind of where, I'm sorry.
That's right. Get it out of the way.
This is gonna be a much longer one. This hasn't been updated in a few months, but all the intent is still the exact same. So this is our current design. So we basically kept most of the exact same features. We have your bulb outs. we are having more improvements at Elm. We have a new pedestrian refuge and crossing on the west side near Art Entertaining. So the actual roadway stuff, we still have permanent parking on the south side now. So most, sorry, was that?
No,
Yes,
yeah. But we had talked about it. Okay.
that wasn't in the previous design.
No,
Correct.
no.
But it was the one where we were considering doing Baker one way, doing the roundabout, doing a green space, doing something there. So that's the, okay. Mhm.
So that's where the current stand site, this was presented last summer at our public meeting. So trying to give it more of a kind of timeline history, back in early 2022 is when the project was applied for federal grants, for TAP funds, or actually surface grant. So that was applied for in February 2022. Unfortunately, most things with federal government, we weren't awarded the project until July or August of 2022. And then we didn't get our agreement signed with the federal highways until December 2022. We started the consulting process in January 23. So it takes time to advertise, get bids, award, get approval, get a contract, get approval from FHWA, get obligation from FHWA. So we started design September 2023. So from then on, the last year and a half, we've gone through preliminary design. There are some improvements since what you're seeing here, but it's essentially the same. We had our public meeting last summer. We sent out, it was a virtual meeting, about 2,000 postcards got sent out to the community. We had a decent turnout. We had quite a few questions and comments. Some concerns were brought up. So one thing we're not showing here is, we're adding additional, that bigger block crossing continental markings at the crosswalks, similar to those. Sorry, thank you. Yeah. So better pedestrian stuff. At the time of our preliminary meeting, these plans were only showing the curb staying as is in the exact same location. A lot of questions and concern about that. So the majority of the sidewalk will be widened to 6 feet or greater. The one area where that just can't happen physically is down here at this awning stretch when we're widening out for all these turn lanes. So even through here, this will not be a 6-foot sidewalk on both sides. There were some questions and concerns about, why don't we have bike lanes? With the parking, it's just not possible. Or having sidewalk on both sides. Just we got a very limited right of way with buildings on the right of way. We just can't fit everything that is truly wanted or potentially desired along the corridor. So right now we are in our right of way plan phase. So we are on our second or third draft. Most of the right of way needs are going to be easements. There's no new right of way needed. It's going to be temporary construction easements, and there will be some permanent sidewalk easements needed. Some of that is because maybe the front of face building is technically 6 inches on your side of the right of way, and we don't want to have we want a sidewalk still to go up to the business. So we'll be getting small slivers of permanent sidewalk easement just so it's a continuous face. There are a few other areas that will need, the easements are shown on there in green and red lines. Those have since been revised a little bit and they're not quite as big. So like right now that green is temporary to, rebuild driveways and whatnot. So they are pretty limited. We are expecting to get right-of-way plan approval later this summer, and then offer letters will start going out this fall. But again, we're looking at, maybe 100 square feet per type of property, that size of easement need. Any temporary easements, go away after 2-3 years, whatever negotiated. And then permanent is obviously a permanent sidewalk easement that allows us to come and maintain the sidewalk as needed. So the project essentially is right here, when we, from my understanding from the planning and permitting phases, the project was mostly for the roadway, for the sidewalk. The intent that San Luis County received, we would not be doing additional streetscape stuff. The sidewalk we widened, but there currently is no plan for lighting or landscaping. Those things can be added. The thing is, it's just St. Louis County is not going to construct and maintain those things. We actually started talking last fall, so now on, about the potential for lighting and additional things. And we've already talked to our consultant who's CG engineering. They do have lighting, designers. Things can be added. They've already started looking at potential costs to see what that would take. Obviously, depending on what kind of input, what kind of ideas you guys had. I mean, this all can be included. It's just not as part of the existing project as it is today.
Madam Chair, before we get to the streetscape, would you mind if we go back to the timeline for just a moment? So thank you.
And stand just so I project. I was able to meet with county folks along with Nan and Renee this week.
Monday.
Wow, Monday.
Today is.
Yeah. Am I not alone there?
No.
It was really helpful for me. I've been hearing about this project over the 4 years that I have been here, and in listening to several of the last previous meetings, I've heard quite a bit of frustration, understandably, about timelines. And so it's helpful for me to meet with the county folks and understand some of the timelines more. And as Brian just shared with us, this grant was actually applied for in 2022.
Yeah.
And so just to level set, I think a lot of that timeline and frustration, there's been several grants that were applied for through various entities that were not received over the years. So this has been in planning, talked about for a long time, but this is the first time it's actually been awarded and planned. And I think that's important to understand as we move forward. There may have been previous renderings, previous drawings, but it wasn't an official go. And now it is. So this planning process has really just been since 2022. Is that accurate, Brian?
From the application. Yeah.
From the application.
I believe in 2021, there would have been some back and forth of, Webster submitting just the business district side and then it becoming the project that it is today. Yes.
And I know that is still quite a long time, but in terms of actual project planning to this magnitude, it's not. And so I just want to be able to level set that as we move forward. And then as Brian just shared, he has been meeting with city staff, Nan in particular, since last fall to talk about some of those streetscape things. So I just want you all to know that things are happening. And in the background, the city staff are communicating and working on these agreements. So I just wanted to interject to that, but there's some important things to understand about moving forward with an agreement to do some of the streetscaping.
Yeah. Right now, all the bulb outs are just shown as concrete, and that's purely just for maintainability for the county. Again, like those are good locations if you guys wanted to have landscaping done. That's again, we could definitely make that happen. It's just again, long-term maintenance is one of the biggest things the county has concerns over. We don't have a bunch of landscaping that our forces keep throughout the county. It's kind of just it's our standard. We don't deviate for one municipality and not do the same for the others.
But that's why we have this committee with its own budget
Correct.
to.
Right. So for this, what is your timeline for construction?
So right now, and the intent is to start right away this fall or negotiations. That process typically takes 6 months or so for negotiations. If for whatever reason there aren't a settlement reached between the county and property owners, then that individual parcel or multiple parcels, we often go to condemnation. Condemnation can take additional 8 to 9 months. So I will say the non-condemnation route first is we will get right away into 25 and 26. We will continue and finalize, this is like 60% design. We still have a lot of the details, the elevations of where the curb ramp comes in, how to transition that, some of the details at the signal. But intent is to advertise and bid in probably summer, fall of 2026, with construction actually happening in 27. Now, construction could happen in 26. I just, on the conservative side, I'll just say 27, just when we get out the door, a lot of times we don't like to start work in the middle of the winter, and especially when we got parking and snow and whatnot, it's just not a good combination. So most likely, very beginning of spring 2027 is when construction will be hitting the ground.
And then how long do you anticipate construction?
I would assume it should be, if we're starting early 27, it should be done by the end of 2027. So it should be one construction season.
And then with the streetscape portion of it, where we come in as a committee to help design the concept of what we want in terms of lighting, or what we want on the bump outs, or what we want to contribute to our streetscape. When do we come together with county for that conceptual phase to do that?
I mean, the sooner we get input, I mean, I can look at it, I can get back to you as far as a hard schedule. I mean, obviously just the sooner the better. It might take time to implement. It might take time for our consultant to actually design it, and we have to get a change order for them to do that. And that's going to take, our county council to approve the change order. I mean, so if we say, hey, we have an idea today, this is what we want, it will probably realistically be 2 to 3 months before we actually start designing said thing.
And then what do you want us specifically to come to that meeting with? Like the exact ideas of what we want in terms of lighting, in terms of.
So, I mean, there are a couple different ways this can go about. I will.
Can you talk about what that change order really means? Because I want to make sure that the group understands.
So, any design change order we have, would be funded by the Crossroads districts or City of Webster. Right now, just for ballpark, I actually asked CDG to just give us a number, whether it's drilled down to the exact scope or need we want or would like, for lighting to actually design and implement would be $30,000, around $30,000 for just the lighting. So just trying to give you a ballpark, that thing that's giving you more of a standard type, aesthetic street light, but if you guys are looking for different options, that's will take more time and money essentially, depending on exact needs. If they just want to say, hey, give us 3 options, we'll choose, obviously it might not be the exact preference you have, but it's going to take less time, it's going to take less money. So there are kind of trade-offs as far as how in-depth and detailed you are looking to get.
So it's $30,000 for just the design work?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
Yeah. And, we've talked with, the City of Webster, and, obviously you guys can come in after the fact and do everything you want and need. That's fine. There are some, economies of scale if we do it together. You don't have to rip up brand new concrete to put in poles, have construction twice. So, I mean, there are benefits of both, we have capacity to do it, get it done. We have the time in our current contract where we stand with our schedule. The biggest concern that we have is our federal funding. Currently, obviously in Washington DC, there is a lot of discussion about, what federal funding should be used for. Grants such as this was under the eye a few weeks ago. That since got backed off. So we just have to hit our schedules. If we don't, then we'd be, in the past, projects like this have gotten extensions, 9 months or whatnot. We're afraid that those extensions might not be as readily given out. So our biggest deadline is we have to have final plans done and basically approved by next June 30th of 2026. So we have, from today, a year and 3 months, obviously. Again, sooner always the better. So there is time to figure this out. But we don't have a limited time either.
So what the next best steps be? So I want to make sure.
Yeah.
Both city side and making sure this group's input is, it sounds like there's a couple of options. They can share what they would like in terms of lighting. or another expedient route may be that the design comes back and says, we could do these 3, 4 things,
Yeah.
and then the group can choose from that. Is
Yeah.
that a quicker option?
It would be a quicker option. I mean, I would say, the quicker option probably would be CAG providing you guys, hey, these are designs we've done for other municipalities, for other streetscape projects. You know, choose what you like best. That would probably be the quickest. You know, or if you guys have a single design, like, hey, this is what we like the best, you can give that to them. They can try and get the options that similarly meet, you know, your needs. But I can't say they won't do it. I don't think they'll say, hey, we're going to design a extremely custom thing for your guys' needs. I don't know if they will do that or not. That's in their capacity.
I don't know if that's necessary.
I don't think it's necessary.
But we need the city to initiate that. Anything is out of your scope, the city needs to initiate CDG to give us some options, or
So,
how does that?
so
You just don't do it, I assume.
yeah, I mean, we have a draft scope form for that $30,000. Basically as right now, I've been the one still dealing with CDG, just they're under contract with us. We would need the city to say, hey, this is the direction we want to go, whether it's give us 3 or 4 options or give us something that resembles this post, and they can do their best based on their database of what they've done before.
The city has to approve spending that $30,000 for the design.
Yeah, so what would happen in the change order process, we would have to go to city. So we have all of our St. Louis County projects, we have some contingency. However, you know, that's about, you know, 3 to 4% that smaller things. Anything above that would have to go to our city council for approval. You know, and with the change order, we would actually provide a maintenance agreement as well. Like say, hey, this has been requested by the city of Webster. We have this change order, as well as, hey, here's this agreement saying, you know, design, construction, and long-term maintenance will be done by the city or business district or whoever that may be, most likely the city. But so we would do those hand in hand. We have a draft maintenance agreement in place. I mean, so we've been working on this a little bit behind the scenes, expecting this to be moving this direction. So it's been drafted. Our legal staff is reviewing. We just sent the draft over, I think, last week to the city. So I mean, again, that draft could change based on what our legal says, but we've done this quite a bit for other municipalities. So it's a pretty standard type of boilerplate language. But again, that still could have some modifications until legal gets through it.
You said that the business owners needed to be contacted. Is that about the easement, about getting the last
Yes.
little bit?
Yeah. So yeah, that will all happen presumably this fall. So the whole right-of-way process is once we get right-of-way approval from MoDOT, the county has to go through a establishing ordinance phase for us to, hey, so the council understands that, hey, we are trying to go out and acquire additional right-of-way or easements. That has to go through 4 readings in our council process. So that's a month in itself. It'll take probably a month for appraisals. It'll try to take a while for us to actually get offers out. So again, offers and whatnot for the strips of land for the easements, permanent and temporary, won't be happening until probably this fall, like October timeframe is kind of what I would assume.
With those offers, I think it's important to note, there's been some other projects where the individual offers going back and forth can delay the process, which is everybody's individual rights, and not here to push on that, but it can add, I think you shared 6 to 9 months to the process if there's some of that back and forth. So I just want to know the timeline to a degree is in this group's hands and individual property owners as well.
It's really kind of like when typically there's some back and forth, you know, hey, here's the offer, you know, typically there would be a counter and whatnot. That's just everyone's individual rights to do that. You know, I say if there isn't a settlement reached, so then it goes to the courts. And I can tell you, small property in the courts is not a priority. It gets kicked and kicked and kicked. Like we had a project up in Florissant on Washington Avenue, it was over a year before a condemnation process started, which is already 6 months after the offers going out before it actually got finalized. So, those can be schedule killers as far as construction goes.
Hopefully we don't get into that.
Hopefully, I would say we do our best most time to try and redesign things to avoid that. However, where we have so little right of way right now, it's harder in these projects when we're in a more of a arterial where we have 20 feet on both sides type, or never 20 feet, it's 5 feet on both sides. But so it's just a little more difficult in the more compact areas such as this.
So in your scope, all these aprons are being replaced as well.
Yes.
Are these bump outs, are they curved bump outs? Or are they a gradual bump out?
They are curved.
And they're like separated from the curb a little bit, there's a little.
Yeah.
Rain space.
Yeah, there'll be drainage behind.
So you can't drive over.
But you can't ride your bike through it, through that,
No,
that little.
I wouldn't. It's going to be 2 feet. I'm sure someone could.
Okay, I was wondering, when we're talking about bike lanes.
Yeah, no.
It's only that
They'd
little
also be
bit, right?
fighting the parking along there as
Right.
well.
This is a curved bump out as well.
Yeah, it's basically a little meeting island. So that was installed for a couple different reasons. So right now, everything in pink kind of at the entertainment
Mhm.
At the big
is, yeah.
place.
This is all kind of existing sidewalk.
Yeah.
It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't cross the railroad. It doesn't go down toward 44. So,
Get to here and have to come
Yeah.
bring your dog over here, yeah.
so essentially we are getting rid of this sidewalk and providing another access. So if you were trying to get this location or you were happen to cross the street, across the rail tracks on the side, I don't know why, you would still have a safer option than just across 3 lanes of traffic with turning movements. That gives more visual. Also, having that median low area for anyone coming east does provide traffic calming. So even though we're just striping and repaving west of the tracks, it's still going to be a pretty wide area. So there might be vehicles traveling faster than they should west of the tracks. And once the corner, kind of having that median to kind of shrink them down a little bit does help with slowing effect as you come into the district. So it's both pedestrian and really just traffic calming kind of as well.
Has the county considered raising these pedestrian crossings? in these areas?
It was looked at, it is probably not going to be, and it will not be included as part of the scope.
Because this is where all the high-speed traffic is in this stretch. That would eliminate that.
When you said you're restriping and resurfacing, are they gonna do that across the bridge too?
So the great thing about a bunch of different government agencies, MoDOT has from there to the bridge. That's MoDOT bridge. Basically, yeah, 99% of the structures that go over a highway belong to MoDOT, whether it's on their facility or not. There are exceptions, but the vast majority are. So MoDOT actually has a project in place to replace that bridge. And when they do, they will also repave that rest of the stretch. Our intent is to, although we won't be physically repaving their section, we will be grinding down their pavement markings to continue the road diet from there across the bridge. So there'll be some it might look janky doing that, but at least it will keep a road diet through the
So
corridor.
this is like the giant hole right there.
I know. There's a lot of holes
Yeah.
down here too.
Yeah.
So what do we need to do to move this forward?
Meet
The
with the
design.
county.
It's like, yeah, meet with county.
So do you guys want to provide options and have our engineer take a look and see what they can do, or do you want them to provide you, hey, here are 3 things, or?
We
Well,
can
the-
provide options.
The answer to this table is yes, but that's up to the city to say
Can I,
yes.
can I jump in? So we do have some of the pictures that y'all had selected.
yeah,
The
that's
light
true.
poles and that, did you want to?
And at that time, we were told that we were providing options to county, but if it's more seamless for the design engineers, CDG engineers to provide options to us and we choose, we're fine with that as
You
well.
okay with that?
Yeah.
Because I have
Absolutely.
not, I wanted this meeting, because we haven't shared, I don't think that they've ever gotten
Correct,
the information that you all had provided.
correct.
So I'm happy to share that with them, and then that possibly could be one of the options.
Right. We don't want to do anything to delay the
To
process.
slow anything.
Yeah, I don't know if sharing it with you would delay the
It
process.
would show, if you guys share that, I can at least show CDG, say, hey, these are some of the things I looked at. You know, they can at least say, okay, yeah, we know,
With no direction at all. We just came up with these ideas.
gotcha. Yeah, I mean, if there are ideas that you like, I can definitely share them. But they're just, hey, these are ideas and you don't particularly, you might like 2 and not the other 2, then I wouldn't share that just because they won't know which one you don't like. Another thing I do want to share, I meant to mention it earlier, so like I said, most of the sidewalk will be 6 feet or wider, which is an improvement from today.
Mhm.
There are, like I said, on the southeast side, closer to Elm is the one exception, right under that awning area. You know, whatever lighting is chosen or other, you know, signing or whatever business district Webster does in the future, the most important thing to note is based on our current ADA requirements, we have to have a 4-foot path. You know, the sidewalk should be 6 foot and you can have light poles and other things, but we have to maintain a 4-foot for federal requirements. So, you know, I know we got a lot of planters out there now, you know, like if a planter is 3 or 4 foot wide and only leaves a 3-foot space, that really shouldn't be there.
Right. With mailbox out there too.
So I just wanted to, in any future or ideas you have now, just keep that in mind. And as of right now, if I remember, the light poles they were showing were only on the north side of the street. So I'm not sure if,
We're gonna try to put them on both.
okay,
At least stagger them so that we can run lights across.
Our banners, if we have an event.
So it sounds like Renee will provide those options this week to Brian. And then it'll be in the county and the
Yeah.
contractor's hands, and we will then hear back at some points in time. Do you have an idea how long that might be?
So I'll just give you a very real world, you know, by the time Renee sends me some, you know, end of this week or the next week, I would expect 3 to 4 weeks before we hear back.
We have monthly meetings,
Yeah,
so
so I mean, you know, we should probably, and I will put the onus, hey, we need something, at least updated scope fee and hey, here are a couple options. We'll see if we can do that by next meeting. Can't guarantee that, but I will try and push them
I mean,
to.
can we potentially like try to meet again in May and discuss this more at our May meeting and?
Yeah.
It took 25 years.
Gonna happen.
Yeah, believe it now.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
And once we get that agreement back from you, it'll go through our legal process.
And it's gotta go through your guys's council reading and then our council reading. It
Okay,
like everything, it takes.
it takes time. I can
Unfortunately.
say our legal process is a little easier than the county. As well as our readings. Our council takes 3 readings, not 4. And we can expedite that if necessary to meet timelines.
Not all of ours takes forward to certain things, but yes, regardless, it's a process.
Well, and for good reason.
Any question about the Ameren lights, the tall ones? Would they be out of there as a result of this? Whenever we coordinated anything with Ameren on something like that, that also causes delays generally. If we want to remove this, I don't know if we want to remove this, but
So the counties typical process. And I will caveat, I've only been in the county for a year and a half, so I'm not the expert. You know, we don't require Ameren to move unless there is a physical conflict with our design. And typically, they will go back with if it's overhead now, they'll typically go back with overhead. In my experience, if we want them to go underground or anything to be out of the way, that's an expense we, the county, city, have to occur, and I can tell you that is typically not cheap. That you're looking hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that's, again, just a rough number. It could be more than that too.
And Brian, on the north side, we had some Ameren pole lights.
Okay.
And those, I mean, it's a choice. They can stay, the decorative lights can go in between,
Yes.
and they can be pedestrian scale. And the roadway light can still remain there as for, eliminating the roadway. It's just, I don't know if as a result, there will be too many
Yeah,
poles on
Yeah.
the street. And in this case, if we want to make that decision, it would be best to make it as quickly as possible. I think that's the process that we ran into before in the Dalmar loop, that the removal of that Ameren took a long time.
Yeah.
And that affected the project.
Yeah. I can't speak too much on the Ameren process, so I know enough to be dangerous. I don't know all the details to provide a good direction or response. So, I apologize.
Sounds like we should reach out to him.
So what mean for me then?
could I ask a specific question? I'm not the owner.
Yep.
I'm only a worker here. The red lines and the green lines, what are they?
So the red lines and the green lines, those, and they have changed, they've gotten shorter, they've gotten narrower. Those are the representation of the temporary, the green easements,
Mhm.
and the red, which have been the permanent easements for, hey, we need this to maintain the sidewalk. Typically, we ask for our permanent easement to be 1 foot outside of the sidewalk boundaries, so, you know, if you replace sidewalk, you have to reform it, and that takes a few inches, and then, you know, so our standard process is permanent sidewalk easement should be 1 foot on the back side of the sidewalk. And then the green is, hey, we still need a little extra room to physically do the work, to replace a driveway. So those what those lines represent, and I can tell you, as we're going through the right-of-way process, as we're refining the design, some of those are getting smaller too.
That's just where the boss parks, so that's what I was asking, what's gonna change in that little corner there? Okay,
I'll make a plug. I mean, all of our San Luis County websites or projects do have a website. I can forward that information to Renee or something. If you guys weren't aware of that, it's got some of the scheduled stuff we talked about. It's got this strip map. It's got an actual video of the virtual meeting, so you can see us, myself and a few others looking. You can see our faces for about an hour or two, answering questions and going through a presentation on basically a seamless run for 2 hours. If you enjoy that, great. If not,
You know the project number again?
this is 1851. As far AR 1851 is the county number. I don't remember that federal 10 number off the top of my head.
That's all right, but that will get you to it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You guys are more than welcome to keep these. I can take them back to the office. Or if you guys, Webster City wants to keep them, it doesn't matter. I just brought them for physical representation thing.
Sanan would like to keep the map.
So
I'm going to send that
Your
email.
office?
Yeah.
I'm gonna share, because I think I have this already. This I have. I sent this the other day.
I sent the one from the Cochrane one, that one was developed by the city.
Okay,
I know I sent that one yet, or Monday or Tuesday, whenever it was.
okay, that one, but I don't have this.
Yeah. I guess I
So
did.
I'll share this.
This is
one.
Okay. Yeah, it's on the website too, but
Thank you.
yeah.
There's our 30,000.
Yeah, there's a $30,000 drawing right there. That's okay. I appreciate you being here.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for coming in.
Hey Frank, for taking minutes, can you email those minutes to me?
Sure.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Oh, it's good
See you
to see
later.
everybody.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for your help.
You're welcome.
All right, okay, so now on to fiscal year 26 budget and commission report. No, our budget master here.
Had already marked off on that last time.
Did anybody have any concerns with the budget?
I didn't wait to see if the budget number for disposal was removed or if it's still in there. But we can take care of that now.
Okay,
Right, so that, you guys, so once you all do the markup to create it, I will then enter and make that removal, so.
okay, so you've already taken over your removal then, okay. Then you will take that off Renee for us.
Yes, ma'am. But do you have other revisions on the budget?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so.
Anybody? No, that was the only one.
That's the only one?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
It's only when we get to the construction year that we may have revisions, because.
Right, so-
Putting out any planters, but that's not this year.
If anybody can predict the snow, we'll decide whether we want snow removal.
Well, we took that off several years ago,
I
yeah,
know.
so.
I tried to explain that to everybody as I was shoveling the front walk. The city's supposed to do that? No.
I do have another question though,
Yes, ma'am.
because you are going to be meeting with Dan next week.
But that won't go on. It may or may not, so
Well, so the goal though,
if we agree to it, it will.
okay.
Right.
Okay, because the overall goal was to get
So
all
I
of
just,
that finished.
I submit all the addresses to him next week.
Okay,
And I'm not sure when he'll come back with the, he said it'll take him about a week, so I anticipate 2 weeks, it'll come back from him.
okay, we can change it.
Yeah.
We can add that. I
Okay.
just wanted to,
And I told him that we may not actually affect it towards, until we get the streetscape.
Yeah. no, absolutely.
Because if it all happens at the same time, it would be, if he's trying to do it while we're trying to get the streetscape done, it may not be conducive. You know, it depends on what he needs to do, how quickly they can do it. When we fall in line after the 2 other business districts.
So I'm gauging how they're working down in Old Orchard, and it's seemingly going seamlessly. Seemingly it's going seamlessly. So
But they already have stuff in place.
they
right?
have stuff in place, but then there are a couple buildings that did not have lights. So it's a mixture of a lot of things. So I'm just watching, and so far so good. Then we'll see how this goes. So
And Old Webster already has stuff in place.
yes.
We do not have anything in place, but
Okay.
we are also the smallest district.
Yeah.
So it may end up being about the same time.
Okay. We'll just keep in contact. We'll communicate about that.
And then
offline.
it depends on the property owners and how much the city's gonna cover and cost and,
Mhm.
all that kind of
Those are
stuff.
the building lights.
So, okay, this is what I presented to the council last year. So I wanted to give a copy to everybody. It's basically, we're always on the same, trying to get the streetscape done. And you're gonna have a copy of this?
Yes.
I don't know if you want me to copy. I'll give extras, that'd be great. Thank you. And I just wanted to give a copy to everybody, especially the council members, to see if you wanted to add anything. What I wanted to add this year was that we were looking at the lights as the other districts have them along the tops of the buildings, but I don't have the actual numbers back then from Show Me Lighting. But Dan and I are working together and I should have that back within 2 weeks, so I will add that to it. I will update our council members, putting Amanda on, taking the other ones off that are no longer on our council. And if anybody had anything specific, I will update and add our May meeting. Do we have a date for when we're presenting these?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so, and if we end up presenting after May, then I will add what happens at that meeting. Yeah,
There is a date.
there is a date.
There is.
Okay.
It's on the council agenda. Give me one moment. May 6th.
May 6th. Well, that will be before the meeting, so I will just update that that's when we're going to sit down with Connie again at our meeting. And so if anybody has anything that they want me to add to that specifically,
I thought I was just a neighborhood representative, not a business representative. When I first came on. Does that make any difference anywhere?
Are you talking about on the list? No, that's how you are listed on the roster.
As a neighborhood representative?
No.
No, as Lewis Associate. Just want to make sure that everybody understands, I don't own it, I don't make any decision.
So I've been asked by the clerk, if possible, can we get this, and I'm happy to type it up, if you need me to do so, but we need to get that to her. Today.
this statement, this,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I can get that to you.
Apologies if I missed it. Did you already mention changing the council person and the staff liaison?
Yes.
You want to add anything about the 4th of July stuff in the 2024? Just that we. I don't know.
We don't cover that.
Not big enough deal.
And we'll cover all the new businesses specifically in the district. Never come up since last year though. We'll move on to the Alma parking lot landscaping and lighting update.
So it's a very short update. We currently are trying to source those low lights. Also, and I think that we have questions. Sinan kind of alluded to it. I think there's one big light there.
There's no overhead light.
There's no overhead.
No overhead light at all. And the one bulb, one of the short lights has been knocked over.
Yeah,
But all the lights are on.
they're on, but they're laying, some of them are
One's
laying down.
All lights are on.
There's no,
Okay, because
there's no overhead light because of the apartment complex.
I was there last night, every one of them is lit. but one's laying on the ground.
Okay, because
It looks like
before,
bulbs were changed because some are really bright and some are dim.
But
Like the one
one's
laying
still
down is
laying
really
down.
bright, like they changed the light, but
Okay.
just left it like on the ground. so-
okay, okay, well, thank you. My last update from them was we're still working on it, but that's good. So, again, the question is, I get it, it's there's no overhead light. Is that a concern?
It's probably a request from the neighbors, is there's a house that,
House on either side.
The apartment complex,
Apartments.
so it was a request that there was no overhead light.
Okay.
Okay, I think that's why they went with the low lights,
Maybe people are
short lights. I
put
should
one
say.
now
The
though,
short
because of these new LED lights that are just straight down on the parking lot.
yeah,
A whole different game.
right.
Many people that are using that parking lot probably would be a good idea to attempt to put something back up and there's just one light. It's a city decision, so somebody'd have to investigate where it could go.
Yeah, now that you're there,
Where it
there's
was.
a lot more people at night. I
Yeah.
mean, Wednesday through Friday, it's packed during the day, but then.
Yeah.
At night, but now that you're there, I think more people are using
So it
it.
really didn't have any traffic.
I agree that you can direct light wherever you want these days with the LEDs, and so if you make a
Straight down.
distribution, just for the parking lot, it wouldn't bother the neighbors. One neighbor. That I can.
Do I know who you're talking about?
I don't know if you do or not, but he will complain.
No.
Always one. Okay, well, that might be something to look into then, to get a taller light that shines straight down. New business?
Yeah, police department,
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. This is for-
waiting patient.
Nothing from us, no, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah, it is.
And I haven't seen a whole lot of kids walking over the tracks lately, have you? No, I mean, like, down the sidewalks, which is nice.
I'd ask you to keep an eye on that corner, the Alma Big Bend corner for people parking all the way up to the edge. When they were doing the construction, they just cleaned it up yesterday. It was good, because nobody could park there. But we had big trucks.
Oh, taking out that portion of sidewalk?
Yeah.
Which they came on our side of the street and took out the wrong sidewalk first.
Oops.
Uh-huh. That's a good spot. They get a little excited over there. Okay, all right, new business? Any updates on that? Do we have any update on the space that has the striped awning on the block for you?
I have talked to the owner and their agent. Just waiting to hear back from them.
It hasn't sold anything yet?
No, the person who owned the company passed away, owned the building, and the family's been holding it tight. I think there's a lot of children involved in the decision process, so it's to give them some time, but I think eventually they'll. I'll let it go.
No, no, maybe yet. I think everybody's just kind of waiting to see if
Yeah,
Do we have an idea what we want to put in there, or are we waiting for something? Or, I mean, besides waiting for them to decide, is there somebody who's interested
lots
in
of
it?
people have like, oh, I think lots of people are interested.
yeah.
No, not me. People are interested. Okay,
Does Betty know when she's moving?
she should be moving in August timeframe. She has another CUP coming up for her event space inside a coffee shop.
So we know what the status is from that. They can take it back to the committee for approval. They didn't approve it to move it forward.
I think there's a second one coming. I got notification of a second hearing coming out on it. To tell you the truth, I can't remember the date on it. I read it.
We're gonna look at that.
Okay.
I'll get it.
And, but there's lots of activity still going on inside the building there. So. But I think her target date on her social media is August. What's going on your end of the Are the train guys, you hanging out with the train guys a lot?
Yeah, it'd be great if they would actually like cut their grass on a regular basis.
Oh.
Last year, I think it was up to my knees at one point. That's one thing about my building that they do keep up on the lawn and the snow removal, which is one thing. I have no idea who the owner is of my building.
Isn't it still,
Dickman's?
no,
It's been a
Schuster?
while.
Isn't it Schuster?
No, he sold,
You did, okay.
unfortunately. Yeah, he's a great landlord.
Oh, it's on the internet.
It's 187 LLC Baker, and I deal with a lawyer. My lawyer tried to look up who the owner is. We can't figure anything out. They don't do anything to the property. It's probably if I move out and the dentist stays, I don't know what'll happen, but I don't know if I'm gonna stay in that space, so. I've got until 2026. It's just, yeah. I mean, I've dealt with some landlords in Webster. You know, I dealt with the Stevens for many years, and this guy is nothing compared to them, so. He does not invest in his building, which is frustrating.
My personal favorites are the railroad club.
Yeah.
When they're there.
In the city, side on the grass?
I wish they would. I don't know if they do. I don't know if that's something they can do, because they're not cutting their grass on a regular basis.
Oh, yeah, that's
On
a
your building
nuisance.
or on the-
No, on the railroad club.
Okay, so
Oh.
the railroad club, so that
That's-
property belongs to the railroad, it's
Right.
rented to the railroad club.
Right.
They only have like, how many more years on their lease?
Till 30.
I just wanna live to see till they're done with their lease.
Yeah, but are they gonna renew it is the question,
Well.
because they don't want to give it up, I know.
No, I know. And, but they're responsible for mowing the grass. The business district is not, which they like to put on their social media that we are responsible for mowing the grass, but we are not.
Yeah, the city can.
Yes.
I'll go over there and let them know next time.
And so they go on their social media and who did they get to mow it last year?
Volunteers, like
Yeah.
the Boy Scouts or somebody, yeah.
No, I think
Because they all
green
felt bad for them and
space.
said, oh, this is terrible that the city and your business district is doing this to you. And so then the city had to reach out to them and say, yeah, you don't think to put this on your social media because you're not correct.
So I have a question.
Mhm.
The Railroad Club, are
Mhm.
these private individuals?
Yes.
Okay.
They're a club that occupies that building. It's several years
I
ago,
like to play with the trains.
probably 15 years ago now.
Yeah.
The city offered to rehab the entire building. To renovate and rehab the entire building. And the railroad club could occupy half of it and the city would occupy half of it for a small conference event space, and the railroad club would not agree to it.
Okay. Okay. So the Railroad Club is the leasing of the building.
That is
Yeah,
correct.
they have a
Okay.
99-year lease.
Okay, so I agree, yes. So that's a nuisance complaint.
Which I believe is up in 2034.
Okay.
I mean, I know we don't know the answer, but the lease agreement should have who's responsible for maintaining the ground. It's either
They are.
the owner, they are.
Yeah, they're responsible for everything.
Yeah, it's easier if it's them,
Yeah.
because we can't do anything to the railroad.
Right.
They don't even answer calls.
Yeah.
The email address bounces back. But we can definitely, that would be a nuisance complaint. and
So
we
my
can do
number
that.
2 behind this is to secure that lease.
If we all live that.
Make it really nice, you can make a really nice bar out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because.
So many
it ju-
great things could go into that place.
Yeah,
would
it
be
was so bizarre to me that they were not agree for Webster to rehab the building. And they occupy it.
And then now they're crying poor about the roof.
Right. And I mean, isn't that the landlord's or the owner's responsibility?
Yes.
I mean,
They
that's the
have to
owner of the
maintain-
building.
I'm positive the building doesn't even meet fire code
Yeah.
or anything else.
They
There's
got
a
it.
lot of buildings in Webster. I've been through.
They did get a rebirth.
Sorry, I've been in a lot of them.
You're on camera. Yeah, well, it's like I said, enforcing the railroad. It's almost impossible, but enforcing the people that are leasing the building, yeah, that part we can work with.
Good.
And it was the business district, it was really, really dilapidated, it was a business district, we paid for the building to be painted and landscaped, and the agreement was that they would maintain the landscaping, and it grows over the sidewalk, it's just. Yeah, I actually planted all that stuff around that building, so back in the day. Okay. All right, BDC update. I don't know that we have an update because Julia's
Yeah.
not here, so I will get that information from her for next meeting. City update?
So the one thing that I'd like to share, the planning office will be open on Tuesdays effective April 1st. We will be reopened. And I think this affects everybody here. We are working really diligently to streamline our process. So we've been doing some things, working with some things, seeing what works, what's not working, tweaking our process. And we will be open for business on Tuesdays again. So we do appreciate everybody's patience because I know
So
the Tuesday closure was.
Tuesday, April 1st, not a joke.
No, ma'am, not a joke. I know it does sound like a joke, right? No, not a
No,
joke.
because it's April. 1st.
April Fool's Day, no, not a joke. Not a joke.
Any other city updates? Okay, and our next meeting is April 16th. And I will try to bring that. Fran, you have that Google document we put together? Okay. And will you send that to me and I'll get copies and then I'll bring that? Sure. Okay. I will
And
bring
that's
that.
what
Is
Renee is sending to Brian, correct?
Right.
Yes.
So I don't have it in a Google Doc.
No,
But I
it's
have-
converted to a PDF.
Yeah, I have a PDF, but you know what, before I do anything, I just need to make sure I'm on the same page with you all. So, Fran, if you don't mind, so will you resend it and you give me the green light and I'll forward it on.
Okay, that sounds great. And then we'll bring that to the next meeting so all of you can see it, what we have put together about what we wanted on our streetscape the last time with Eric Peterson. Okay, so we're all looking at the same thing before we go into the main meeting. Does that sound good to everybody?
Or you could just send it, when you send it to them, you send it all of it. Both of them on that.
Just a reminder, the city does not have planters anymore. We do hanging baskets. So the planters that are still out and about, Parks is literally waiting for them to just become unusable. They take them away, they're not replacing.
So, okay, so our district bought the planters. So are you saying that they don't plant the planters or? Okay.
We're not setting out planters anymore. So I get it, you bought yours, but with respect, even to what Brian was mentioning, they make the sidewalks not ADA compliant.
Okay,
So my suggestion is to think about moving towards hanging baskets.
The reason they go to the hanging baskets is because they're lower maintenance. They have a water reservoir in there. They don't have to be watered as often. So it's less people hours that are required to maintain it.
But it
so,
also allows us to maintain the ADA compliance. with the
Kills two
sidewalk.
birds with one stone.
Yep,
So our light poles need to have hanging basket arms.
Yes.
which means
Which you
Ameren
will
has to
have to.
take out the poles.
so this was another question. Are you guys going to do like how we do the banners, the side banners on the poles here?
Well, we
I
have
thought
them
that was something
already.
you wanted to, but on both sides of the street, right? Okay.
So. Does Old Orchard have trees? Old Orchard,
I
but
think so.
Webster does, right?
They get enough sidewalk to do that kind of stuff.
They both have baskets on their poles and banners on their poles. The only new thing is my understanding is that your lamppost will have electric access, whereas the ones in Old Webster don't. But otherwise, I thought you guys wanted to match what they were doing so that all three districts would be similar,
So we need lights, basket arms, and banner arms.
right?
Right, but that means taking out the Ameren poles.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Tell them right here. We're gonna take out those Ameren poles. Tell them right now. Yeah.
Sure.
Cause our lights,
For sure.
We had anticipated that. I'm like,
My call for adjournment?
Yep, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, our next meeting is April 16th. Is that still good with everybody? All right, let's go ahead and adjourn. May I get a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn.
And second,
Second.
all those in favor?
I.
All those opposed? Okay, see you guys on the 16th. Thank you very much, everybody.